Morning, everybody. There we go. Nope. Okay, there we go. Such is the adventures of trying to go live and work with the technology. But I appreciate you guys tuning in, checking out this video this morning. Just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about septic systems. It's something we get a lot of questions on. And so I thought, man, it's a great time to put a little video together and kind of explain what they are and the basics of how they work. It's going to be a multi-part series. I'm going to continue to do one each week, a little bit more in depth. Some of them will talk about maintenance of systems. Some of them talk about common failure points of systems. Today is just going to be about the types of systems that we see in our areas and maybe some of the advantages, if I can hit on those real quick, for those types of systems. Let me switch over. I'm going to share my screen with you guys and I'll have some more information. Septic systems are a pretty cool way to septic systems are a pretty cool way in rural areas, especially to dispose of waste and things like that. We've got to do something with it. These are perfectly safe systems that allow us to do those things and do them very well. There we go. I was muted. Okay. So this is the basic idea behind a septic tank. Every now and then you'll see one that's yellow. Sometimes they've got some different fiberglass ones and things like that, but this is the basic idea. This is basically what you're always going to see when you're dealing with a septic system that's being installed. It's a concrete tank. It's going to have two ends. There's a divider that's going to be in the middle. So what's going to happen is in one end, and I'm not saying this is necessarily the correct end, but this is one end. The waste will come in here. The solids, there's a dip tube that goes down in. The solids will settle in this tank. Then over the divider, they will the liquids will either spill, that's an older style, or it will have, inside of the baffle, it'll have another dip tube. And this keeps the liquids flowing into the second portion of the tank while the scum and foam that's created by soaps and things like that and fats stays on top. And then this, that also eliminates the possibility for the solids that settle to the bottom to pass over into the second part of the tank area. After this, it's going to leave and it's going to go to a few different types of leach fields and disposal systems, things like that. And that's kind of what we're going to cover right here. So your most basic system is going to be this conventional septic system. This is what we've seen forever. This is the basic idea of how they've been built forever. And it's a very reliable system. There's not anything electronic that goes in it. There's not much to it. As long as the bacteria is doing its job inside of this tank here, most everything will be eaten up and disposed of. And by the time it reaches out here into the drain field and then leaches down into the ground naturally treats everything and it becomes, potable water again. Same as if rain was to fall, same as if you were to run water out of your water well. It all seeps back into the aquifer or to the water source and it becomes drinkable water again. The conventional septic systems by far are the easiest. Sometimes you'll see these access risers, most times not. Depends on what areas you're working in. Under these risers, sometimes there's a yellow safety plate, sometimes there's not. But that's basically what you're going to have. Your solids are going to come in from the house. Solids, liquids, and scum come in from the house. It hits the divider. The liquids continue out of the tank into a distribution box and out into the drain field. There's no pressure. There's no electronics on this one. This one naturally leaches into the ground. The next one you see a lot of is going to be called an aerobic type system. This only has to do with the tank portion. This isn't discussing how the waste, how the liquids, the effluent is dispersed out into a leach field of some type. So on this one, say use my finger, let me use the mouse. water or waste comes in, settles down here. You have your baffle. This is what I was talking about, where the effluent pushes up and out. This keeps the scum floating on the top and the solids settled at the bottom, which is what you want, because the scum and the solids is what ruins your leach fields. On this one, you have an air pump. This is why it's called aerobic. So this helps to break down, this helps to keep the bacteria going and to break down waste faster. It's going to pump natural, atmospheric air down into the tank, and it kind of pressurizes the tank a little bit. Sometimes you get a little bit of an odor from them, but not normally. The air pump is very important in this because it keeps everything circulating, keeps it breaking down a lot faster. This is great for houses that have larger families and things like that, when you've got to keep up with multiple users. That's why this system was designed, and it's become more efficient. It is more expensive to have installed as well, and there is maintenance that's required. You've got to have that air pump maintained. You're going to also have a high water and high tank switch and light. So these are a good one. If there's a contract that's offered in your area with a septic company, this is a great one to keep under a contract, because it will take a lot better care of the system, and they'll keep up with the maintenance and things like that. So we discussed a conventional septic system back here on the distribution part, where the water, the effluent, just naturally runs out onto the ground or under the ground. The other type is going to be a pressure distribution system. Here they call it a drip distribution system. This is all from the EPA's website, but same idea. So what you're going to have, there's two types of pressure distribution systems. This one is more like a conventional leach field, because you have the lines buried under the ground. There is a tank right here with a pump, and that pump pressurizes these lines, forcing this out into the soil. This is a little bit better system than it's the same idea as a conventional, but it's pressurized. It's a little bit better system because you can get more effluent out. Same as we were talking about with the aerobic system, you can process it faster. Well, you've got to dispose of it faster, and this is a better way to dispose of it, more efficient way to dispose of it. Again, problem is you have to maintain this pump as well now. You'll have a pump alarm, those kinds of things. So those are things to be paying attention to and looking for as well, that are going to require maintenance. The final one, and I couldn't find a good picture of it, but is one that we're seeing installed a lot more. Instead of having this drain field system, what they'll do is they'll have a few sprinkler heads out way in the backyard, back of the property, something like that. So when this pump tank gets full of effluent, it raises a float switch. That float switch kicks on, kicks the pump on, and then that pump forces everything out into those sprinkler systems. Those sprinklers will come up and they'll water the grass. At that point, it is effluent water. It's safe. It's not drinking water, but it's safe to be dispersed on the ground like that. It will cause your grass to grow better. You're going to have really pretty grass back around those sprinkler heads, and you want to watch out for them and not damage them as well. This is another time where I'm going to tell you this is a great system to go ahead and have on a maintenance plan with somebody. You want somebody that knows what they're doing, coming out and taking care of it, and ensuring that everything is good to go on that side. You don't want to have any issues arising from that at all. That's something that can happen for sure, and we don't want to see that. So make sure that those are kept maintained as well. And they're very easy to maintain, pretty cheap to have on a contract and things like that. So I hope this gave you guys a basic idea of how septic systems work. Again, we can go over it one more time here. Let me pull up the tank. Again, the waste from the house comes in, settles in this tank. There's a baffle or a dip tube of some type in the middle of this tank. And then the effluent water, which is the broken down solids waste, the broken down liquids waste, and the broken down scum waste. It's from soaps and things like that, laundry detergents, spills over into this second tank or goes through a dip tube out through this second tank. And it's going to go out into whatever type of drain field, leach field system that you have, be it a standard one or be it a pressurized system. Something good to keep in mind is you do want to maintain the proper chemicals in your tank. That's going to help your system function properly and last as long as possible. We want to see those things in there all the time. Some areas we can't access the inside of the tanks at all. That presents a little bit of a challenge, but we can still do as thorough of an inspection as we can. And we'll basically flood the system with water, and we're going to check the surface for any types of leaks or anything like that. It doesn't guarantee continued functionality because we don't know how full the tank is, but it is something that can be done. We do always suggest that you go ahead and have the tank pumped, or have the sellers have the tank pumped before closing. That way you know that it has been cleaned out and you're not looking at any failures right away when you move into the home. There's also a few other things to think about on septic systems. Some areas require a permit to install them, some don't. Some places homeowners can install them themselves as long as they don't pay somebody to help them do it. Some places that's not allowed. If you're on a water well system, which some of our areas that we serve are, you're going to have to make sure your water well is proper distance from your leach field and your septic tank and things like that. You're also going to want to make sure that these water lines don't share the same area. Believe it or not, we've seen one house where the water lines and the sewer lines were installed traveling down the same trench. In theory, you should never have any issues because your water well system is always going to be pressurized. And if there was a leak, it would not allow the effluent in because it's pressurized. However, strange things happen, and we just want to take all precautions that we can to avoid any types of real issues. Guys, I hope this clears up a little bit today of what goes on in septic systems. Feel free to find it on Facebook and on our YouTube channel as well. Everything's under BDA inspections. And share it with your buyers if they have questions on septic systems. Share any of our videos and our information with your buyers if they have questions on septic systems. That's really what we're here for. That's what we want to do. And we want to educate everybody as much as we possibly can. So thanks for tuning in for my quick video. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a great day and is out and productive and successful. Call anytime to schedule inspections in any of our areas. If you're in South Texas, it's 361-445-7366. If you're in North Texas, 972-635-9222. And if you're in East Texas, 903-268-1319. Thank you.